Hey everyone, Kyle Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. We have spent the day watching real football, or a version of real football. They were in shorts, I guess, but there were 11 men on both sides of the field. It was rookies and it was veterans. It was the Lions. It was our first chance to see in OTAs some of the rookies with the veterans and some of the things with the new offense. Justin, the biggest story of the day might have been who wasn't there. Several notable absentees, led by Amir Abdullah, who had shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be back until at least the start of training camp, if not longer. No Golden Tate, no Eric Ebron, and several other key players. But we did get to see Marvin Jones and a few other guys. What was your big takeaway from what we did see on the field today?
I think Marvin Jones is going to be really good. I know it's like, I'm not deciding based on what I saw today. I'm deciding today is on top of what I've kind of already formulated an opinion. I just think he's going to be a really good member of this football team. He moves so well. He's good at all levels of the field. I'm really excited to see what he will offer this offense once, as they like to say, the bullets are flying for real.
He didn't make any spectacular plays, no diving catches, he didn't burn Darius Slay on a double move or whatever, but just the way he moves, he just glides on the field. He's quick. It almost seems effortless. It's too early to say just how good he'll be, but I certainly liked. He stood out on the field to me as well. Couldn't miss what was happening on the offensive line either.
Absolutely.
No huge changes until the draft, of course, and then they brought in Taylor Decker. I think most of us suspected he'd be on the right side at least to start, and let Reef, the veteran, put on the left side and see how things played out. But there was a Decker on the left side, Reef playing right tackle for the first time since I started on this beat, 2013. And I thought that was notable. I didn't think we would get a big read out of the offensive line situations. I thought Reef would be on the left, Decker would be on the right, and they would let those guys play it out and go from there. But I think moving Reef on the for this first batch of OTAs to the right side, knowing what all that would entail and storylines that it would generate, and putting a rookie on that left side, it's very telling to me that the Lions really want Taylor Decker to be the left tackle when the season opens. It's too early to say if that'll happen or not, but certainly I think that's the way the Lions want this to play out.
Yeah, I think we all expected Riley Reef to play some right tackle throughout this offseason, but this early to have Taylor taking those first team reps, day 3 of OTAs. We don't really know what happened days 1 and days 2 outside of some still shots that you're out there, but it does make sense. It does make sense that you'd want Taylor Decker to win that job because you don't know what Riley Reef's future is with this organization beyond this year. Taylor Decker is under contract if you want him for 5 years, so. I think the gap between left and right tackle is shrinking, and it's shrinking quickly in today's NFL. But left tackle is still the premium position. It's still where your quarterback's not looking. It's still the blind side. So, he's going to get every shot, and that's what I took away from today. It's not going to be a charity case. They're not going to just throw him out there to get a look at him. This is serious. They're seriously taking a look at him as the left tackle as a rookie.
Yeah, the rest of the offensive line was status quo, but on the second unit, I thought it was interesting. Joe Dowell was at left tackle on the second unit. I suspect he'll play quite a bit of guard as well, but that's where they're starting him right now. Just something to watch as we go forward because he was kind of a versatile guy when they brought him in. It was unclear if he'd be a guard or a tackle. No Amir Abdullah, so we saw a lot of Theo Riddick. At receiver, no Golden Tate, so we saw a lot of TJ Jones and Jeremy Curley, and both had their moments, but TJ Jones in particular, and he had a kind of a scary moment like 15 minutes into practice. I think his foot was stepped out by someone else's cleat, and I
thought he was done.
Yeah, so did I. He was yelling in pain. He's hopping around. He took the shoe off, or either he took it off or it came off. The left shoe. I thought he was done too, and then I put on his cleat, and he was fine after that, and had a hell of a practice. I mean, he really looked sharp, made a lot of plays. I didn't see him mess up. He was getting good separation, and was obviously a favorite of Matthew Stafford's in the passing game.
Yeah, and the second team, that receiver battle, I think it was a really good first day for both Jay Lee and Corey Fuller. I think in a lot of ways we've kind of already buried Corey Fuller. He's had his opportunities, but in terms of just today's practice, the guy had a really, really good practice. Caught a lot of passes, got a lot of looks, deep plays, intermediate routes. Lee is, I think, his clear-cut primary competition for that job, and he also looked very good for a rookie. I'm looking forward to watching that one develop.
He looked good, Jay Lee, and he looked big. We both talked about it live
It's that
at
Broyles
practice.
jersey.
No, it really threw me off because at first I saw the 84, and I'm like, man, that guy looks huge. I think it was just because in contrast to Broyles, Jay Lee is a huge dude, but really he is a thick body, and we both have talked about it before, but he could fill that old Jeremy Ross role as a blocking receiver and bring some physicality to a position that no one else really does that, especially with, Calvin Johnson is out. You have Curley, you have Tate, you have TJ Jones. Those are pretty small dudes. Marvin Jones is not going to be a blocking receiver. He's kind of wiry, so could certainly fill a role for the Lions in that capacity.
Yeah, and he, I talked to him today. He also did gunner work on the punt units at Baylor. Not his senior year. They didn't want to use him there as he was more of an important part of the offense, but his freshman through junior years. And listen, that's a Corey Fuller job. So that's, again, a one-to-one replacement. It clearly makes sense that he's competing for that job. And, I think Lee's going to ultimately emerge victorious, but, we're still in May, so I guess talk to us again training camp on that one.
A lot of mainstays missing on offense. On defense, this big story was who was back. DeAndre Levy, remember him? Pretty good player. His first extensive practice since attempting that comeback against Arizona last year in the middle of the season, and moved pretty well. He said, I talked to him after practice, and he said he's still rehabbing, so it's not like he's back. If this was a padded contact workout, I have no idea if he'd actually be out there or not. But in shorts and stuff, it was okay for him to be out there. That's a great sign in his comeback from the hip. Because there's just so much uncertainty. It's not like he broke an ankle. It's a weird joint, a lot of variables. Yeah, obviously had issues last year, thinking he could come back and he couldn't, and all these things. So it's encouraging to see him out there. Temper your encouragement because, again, he's still rehabbing. But DeAndre Levy in a 54 uniform is a very good thing for the Lions.
Yeah, on the defensive line, some guys were held out, banged up from off-season surgeries. Karan Reed and Tyron Walker both didn't do any team drills. Karan Reed wasn't even here.
Right, Walker did. I did see him doing some individual stuff.
Yeah.
He just didn't do the 11-on-11 stuff.
Well, it opened the door for Ashawn Robinson to get some more work and some first-team work, and I'll tell you, he looked really good. I saw him in the backfield a lot, and I know that was kind of the reputation was maybe he couldn't rush the passer, or we didn't know. It was a projection based on how he was used at Alabama. And listen, it's one practice against a bunch of guys who are also all rusty. But, a snapshot of today, Ashawn Robinson can get in the backfield and be a disruptive force.
We saw Tahir Whitehead in the middle. We saw Kyle Van Noy, blast from the past, so to say, at strong side linebacker. Pretty encouraging, I think, that he was there. And then at safety, no Glover Quinn. He's still coming back from the ankle procedure this offseason, and obviously no Issa Abdul-Qaddus, who's getting some sun down in Miami. So you saw the two guys at that spot were Isaiah Johnson, which I thought was kind of interesting. He was over Miles Killebrew, and Raphael Bush, who I think is definitely the leader at this point. It's a very, very, very early point to win the strong side job. But I thought it was interesting you bring in there's been a lot of buzz about Killebrew and his hard hitting and all that stuff, but he was playing behind even Isaiah Johnson. So temper your enthusiasm on the Miles Killebrew hype train, but I think Bush at this point is definitely the leader at strong safety.
I would be shocked if Bush isn't the starter to start the regular season. I really would. I know what he brings to the table from a skill set standpoint, and more importantly than anything, he's just a solid tackler. He doesn't miss tackles, which is such a valuable asset to have in both coverage and run the game. And I thought he looked good in coverage in the little bits that I saw today. So. Killebrew being behind Isaiah Johnson, I just think that's a rookie earning his stripes. I get that Taylor Decker was out there and Ashawn Robinson were out there, but those are two first-round caliber talents. Killebrew's a fourth-round guy from Southern Utah. He's going to have to earn his way up, and I've said all along, I don't expect him to have much of an impact this year beyond special teams. That's a more of a long-term solution, I think, at the safety spot for the Lions.
We've talked offense, we've talked defense. Quick note on special teams. I did see Don Muehlbach repping ahead.
I knew it was going to be long snapper talk again. We're never going to escape it.
It's the summer of the long snapper.
Yeah.
Jimmy Landis was repping behind Don Muehlbach.
Yep.
Don Muehlbach was the guy right now. So
makes sense.
I'm not sure that means anything at all.
Nothing
whatsoever. I think that's a hat tip to the 12-year veteran, but
yeah,
just wanted to note it.
Landis is going to have to beat him. I don't think he has to beat him soundly. I think if you tie him or come in slightly behind where there's no major problems, then Landis is going to win that job.
It's Nate Freeze all over again. Nate Freeze was beaten out by Giorgio Tavecchio in that training camp, and
Do you want to put that on Jimmy Landis? You want to put Nate Freeze on? That's
my apologies,
that's
Jimmy.
it's not
Because
nice.
that's like one of the worst kickers I've ever seen in the NFL. No, but it's the same situation. I mean, because Freeze was given every benefit of the doubt as a special. Was drafted, won it in that camp, and lost it just a couple of games thereafter. Landis can't come in and fall on his face and still win a job, but something short of that, if he shows some competency, he's got the job.
What does falling on your face as a long snapper entail? I mean, it's got to be like the yips, like disastrous. Like I can't imagine it. Again, I think that's just a case where I expect Landis to emerge victorious based on the investment.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Nope.
I want to go eat a taco. For Justin, I'm Kyle. We're M Live. Keep it right here.